Hey everybody, today we're going to be looking at custom heroes from AEG and designer John D. Clair. Now, John D. Clair designed another game that has some very similar mechanic slash component design decisions, which is Mystic Vale, which is this really interesting sort of card construction deck building game where you don't really build your deck, you build your cards, and it's got all these card transparency things. Anyway, that was really cool. This is also really cool and designed using the same core concept, cards and heroes that you modify. But instead of being a deck construction game, what we have here is a ladder climbing shedding game, and it's sort of more of a classic card game style. Does it work? Let's take a look at the rules and find out. Now, the goal in Custom Heroes is to be the first player to 10 points and to then win a round. So, over the course of the game, each player is going to have a big pile of hero cards. You'll start with a 10-card hand every round, and the heroes are all these sort of different characters, and they also appear on the character shields. So, like, you can play this, like, this witch girl thing, and or this burly man dude, or this cyber lady, or this guy who forgot where most of his shirt is, or this woman who forgot where most of her shirt is, or a clock. But really, these are just the shields that you use to make sure that the other players don't see the customizations that you've gathered as you're playing. It's a ladder climbing game, so every player is trying to play higher values than the card played previous to it. If you can't, you pass. If everybody has to pass, then the person who played those high values gets to sort of start the ladder all over again. And of course, in doing so, they make it much easier for them to empty their hand, which is the ultimate goal of the round. The person who gets rid of their cards first is going to get the biggest bump of points and resources, and then on and on until only one player has cards left, and that player doesn't get much of anything. And as soon as one player has managed to accrue 10 points and then win a round, they win the game. So let's take a little bit of a closer look at this card crafting thing in general. If you've got a hero that you want to use, but you're worried that they're maybe not up to the task, these augments come in 4 flavors. You've got one for your right hand, one for your left hand, there's sort of like a background thing that happens, and then there's an ally that stripes across the bottom. And so each card can hold one of each of those augments. And as you can see here, as new augments get added, the card gets more and more complex. There are bonuses, sometimes there are penalties, the core value might change, and you get different abilities. And what's cool about that is, of course, if you get lots of neat augments, which you'll get from the end of the round and things like that, you will have the opportunity to make your weakest cards really, really powerful. And that seems awesome, and it is awesome, because it makes it more fun to play those cards. But here's the thing. Between rounds, all cards get shuffled and redealt. And you can see where I'm going with this. That means that that card that you piled all of your really impressive augments onto might get shuffled and dealt to an opponent, which means that now they have the benefit of the resources that you've invested. And so there's a neat little sort of cost-benefit analysis that happens every time you think about augmenting a card. Are you going to create a card that is a Frankenstein that is just the most powerful thing on the table and win with it this round perhaps, but create a situation where maybe somewhere down the line someone else has that card and can pound you into dust with it? Or are you going to sort of more evenly distribute your augments, or are you even going to impose penalties on cards as you sort of work to create sets within your own hand and hopefully not get those cards dealt to you at the top of the round? It's a clever twist on the whole ladder climbing shedding game, because it makes it so that you don't always want to make the best cards you possibly can, and that little strategic decision adds a lot of flexibility to what is otherwise a fairly straightforward game. Now, overall, we enjoyed Custom Heroes a lot. We're big fans of the ladder climbing, shedding genre, so this sort of fit right in with the others in our collection that we liked. Now, the intriguing design that these transparent cards represent, and the whole customization thing, that's cool. It doesn't come without a few sort of material considerations. First and foremost, you got to sleeve all your cards, which not everybody is going to do. But you also have to, there's this contact film that you got to peel off of each one, and shuffling them can kind of be a little bit of a pain until you peel that contact paper off. So the first time you get it out of the box, you are going to need to do a little bit of setup, no different from Mystic Vale, which, is from the same designer, same publisher, and has that same core physical component concept. The other thing that we found a little frustrating was the rules and the way the rules are written. It's only 2 pages of text, but it's this dense text block that somehow made the game feel and sound a little more complicated than it actually was. This is a fairly straightforward game, mechanically speaking. You gotta play cards in the same number of cards that are of the same or greater value, if you possibly can, and then you can use these other cards to augment and change the cards that you're holding. Those are the rules. That's it. But the actual text of the rule book was a little bit wanting in that regard. So just muscle through it when you're checking the game out, or maybe it was just us. I don't know. That's possible. But it's not that the game is complicated, but the rules could have been a little bit better, especially since the game is so visual. The cards and what covers what is such a critical part of how the game works mechanically, and the rules had no pictures. And I know I sound a little silly being I don't like reading all these words, I need pictures. But, for a walkthrough of this is what this part of the card is, this is what this part of the card is, actually I think there was that picture. Still, minor quibbles aside, we had a good time with Custom Heroes. We think it's a nice re-implementation of the physical component concept that Mystic Vale sort of brought into the realm, and despite the fact that there are all these characters, it's a very abstract card game. These characters they're just pick your anime stereotype. They're little abstractions. The art's very nice. The components are good. It is a portable game. It plays pretty good at 2. It's a little more fun at higher player counts. But overall, still a good time, regardless of how many people we had to play it. We think that Custom Heroes is a game that is completely worth checking out, especially if you like that shedding, ladder climbing style of classic card game. And we just really love the way they decided to use the components and the material design to create a really sort of clever, interesting riff on this classic card game format. And that's it. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to see more of our full-length reviews, go ahead and click on that playlist over there. If you want to see our short-form reviews, where we do it in a minute, it's called Game in a Minute, go ahead and click on that playlist over there. If you want to join Team Gameosity by subscribing, click that orb.